welcome back. Muffin here. So I have done a subscriber request in the past where it was VK versus the KV series. Today, the VK and IS series are going to go head to head. We're going to do a bunch of different subscribers, swap different players out, see which side takes home the winning cup. We're going to go into a few rounds here, and then a specialty round just at the end, and I'll kind of announce what that is a little bit later on. But in the last one I did with the VK versus the KV series, you'll have to go back and watch that. But it was pretty good, had some really good battles, and between the KV and VK series were some pretty heavily armored tanks. And in this series as well, still German versus Russian, the VK and IS series also have some pretty good armor. And we're going to go into some of the specifics here in just the battle and how it goes. Some great positioning here from this IS-6, being able to get some good cross shots on these VKs going over. And we got some split screen, didn't get any replays, I believe, from the VK side, but have 2 rounds of split screen and then 2 rounds of just the normal view. So VK's getting closed in on. Now both these sides definitely have their pros and cons to them. The VK series does have some pretty crazy armor. And when looking at the tiers that had VK and the tiers that had IS, the only ones they had in common, I believe, were tiers 7 through 10. The German series has tier 6 VK series, but in terms of the Russian tanks, there was no IS tier 6 Russian tanks. Now in this first round, we do have 2 tier 7 tanks, one on the Russian side and one on the German side participating. And it's quite funny because they have, and they do mention this in the chat, they have quite a hard time penetrating these much higher tier tanks. In the future rounds, the next ones, we have only tier 8, 9, and 10. This IS-6 having to play a little more cautiously, but getting some great side shots here. These VK-90s are in a bit of trouble. Tanks that have a great armor profile. That IS-6 just not quite having the gun depression. And that is one of the things that these tanks do have in common between the IS and VK series. They don't have a lot of gun depression. They are much more flat ground tanks. You can see how they do perform a little bit better on that flat ground. In this first one, IS coming in strong with a complete domination. Not one IS tank fell. That is impressive. Now, can the VK make a comeback? We do best out of 3. Maybe we'll see some VK revenge here. I actually know what's going to happen. This is actually a pretty dang good battle. Just look at these heavyweight beasts just coming into action. And quite a ricochet off there on the IS-8, playing pretty smartly, coming around the flank. Now the IS-8 is one of those heavies that doesn't have a lot of armor, but where it lacks in armor, it makes up for in maneuverability, which was great because that IS-8 was just able to flank, get to another position quickly, and then get those side shots. Ooh, and close. Very close on that IS-6. Luckily bouncing around from that VK-90, which has the best penetration for AP rounds at tier 10. IS tank's a little exposed here, taking out a VK-90. The trouble with some of these IS tanks, the IS series tanks that I'm not quite a fan of, even though a lot of these heavy tanks require side scraping, that pike nose does make it a little bit more difficult, because the second you start side scraping and angling a little too much, that one of your side plates can become a little bit too flat, making it very easy to penetrate. Now in this, it was quite funny because nobody wanted to choose an IS-7, which we all know how easy it is sometimes to ammo rack that one, so you can tell the IS team is really in it. VKs are down 3. Some even shooting HE rounds. Only 2 left on the VK side. Stay tuned, this is gonna get good. Knocking out the IS-4, 3 down on the IS side. And the score is evening out. Those VKs having some trollish armor. This is a good match. Taking out another IS, evening the score. Both IS tanks closing in on the VK-100, trying to take him out. VK gains the lead. And takes out the other VK. Even score, but the VKs do have the tier 10 advantage. VK's sides are exposed here. Excellent shot on the IS-6. Unfortunate miss. And what a good game so far. What a close match. VK just needs 1 shot. An amazing battle. Great job by the subscribers. By the way, if any of you guys want to help out with any of the vids I do, join my Discord server and make sure you get the movie crew roll. That way you get the announcements when I put rooms together, and all are welcome to join. Going into the 3rd round, we now have a tie. 1 for IS and 1 for VK. They've spotted each other. And what a shot there, right on that VK90. Ooh, and right on that IS-4. Now, there used to be +2, -2 matchmaking back in the day for those veteran blitzers that have been playing the game around as long as I have, 6 years now for me, and I am convinced I will be playing this game in my 90s in a wheelchair somewhere drooling into a cup. This game for me just never gets old. Both sides bleeding hit points. Things are not looking too good for the IS team. Takes out one of their tier 10s. VK's raining down their rage. That IS-4 deflecting quite a bit of rounds. Now there's a lot of other series tanks that we can also put to the test. There's the E series, like the E100, the E75, the E25. We also have the FV series, we have the AMX series, so stay tuned, a lot more to come down in some more battles. If you want to become a supporter of the channel, I do have a member tab. Feel free to click on that. Any little bit helps the channel out. Your contributions are greatly appreciated. And wow, VK is looking like they're going to pull through on the win here. Only one IS tank left. Now, this is where the IS team wanted a redemption round, which if they lost the redemption round, then this would count as an annihilation. If they won, then that would obviously redeem them, but if they lost, typically what I mean by a total annihilation is if one side ends up winning 3 times, then that is what I consider an annihilation. So all is on the table here for this last round. In this last round, can the IS side redeem themselves? We're going to go ahead here and just see in a second. Now the maps are completely random. IS-3 coming here up along the flank. putting the VK in a pretty rough position here. IS typically is not known for their accuracy, just that classic Russian accuracy making itself manifest in some of these games. Ooh, VK's closing in on the IS-3. That is one thing about the IS tanks that is quite nice, is they do have a much lower profile. VKs, like the VK100, VK168, a lot of these higher tier heavies have a very high profile, and if you can get along the side of them and just move back and forth, it puts them in a really bad position. Even score for both IS and VK. So far the hit points look like they're in the IS favor, but we'll see what happens. This VK90 is going to need to stay alive. Ooh, and things are not looking too good for the VK team. What a comeback. So honestly, both sides really good tanks. Both have their pros and cons. Let me know in the comments below what series you prefer. And also stay tuned, there's going to be more series in the future. Also a lot of crazy, cool, just different ideas. I do historical recreation, challenge vids, showdowns with like 7v7 versus same type of tanks. Also crazy scenarios. We did a recent Protect the President, have plenty more. So keep the suggestions coming. Love all the subscriber requests. You guys are what make the channel. This is the Muffin here. You guys stay cool and keep tanking.